You're a normal person. How did you wind up deciding to run for president? I mean, normal people don't do that.
A new poll was revealing new insights into younger voters ahead of next year's election.
You know, I'm giving up on the political system. I'm like, it's just too corrupt. It's just stupid. It doesn't matter who you vote for. It doesn't matter what you do. They're just doing whatever they want to do.
It's like politics doesn't care about me. Why am I going to care about politics? Not recognizing that if we don't care about politics, then it's going to continue to perpetuate all the problems that we have. Well, and if you think about the fact that half of our country doesn't tend to even show up to vote, that gives you a sense of how disillusioned people are with our politics.
To understand where we exist.
You just won't admit it. You will not admit it.
It's pretty clear you won't admit.
I'm speaking. I'm speaking.
And to be able to contextualize it.
I just felt like there hasn't been somebody that spoke my language, that spoke what I saw that was ill in this country and what's the medicine.
To have someone who comes from this really global perspective, a humanity perspective, it's a different type of thoughtfulness that we haven't heard in the discourse in political elections.
The world is a mess. The world is as angry as it gets.
We are all terribly damaged in one way or another, and we all have different ways of dealing with it. And I take that into account when I'm looking for a candidate. I don't want someone who's gonna, bitch slap the other guy quickest. I want someone who's got my interest at heart and the interest of people less fortunate than me.
If you really dug deep into anyone's heart, you'd find that we all want the same thing. We all want a quality of life that is nourishing, a quality of life that encapsulates the highest values of human dignity. If we don't take a view of addressing and nourishing the individual so that they can thrive, then we have a nation that's sick, and that's what we're dealing with right now.
The first path a person has to begin to change on is going within themselves and realizing that the God within them have to come through.
There is a British physicist named James Jeans who said that it turns out the world is not one big machine, it's one big thought. Once you realize that consciousness is primary, that consciousness is the level of cause and everything that happens out there is the level of effect, then you realize attending to your inner life is absolutely essential if we're to make the kinds of external changes that are needed.
Marianne talks about having a conversation with ourselves as a nation. I believe she has the ability to really moderate that conversation, and out of that, point us in a direction where we're going to solve a lot of the things that are ailing us right now very rapidly.
I think that we all feel that something is wrong at the heart of things. Something is wrong at the heart of things, and the reason something is wrong at the heart of things is because we've pushed the heart out.
Marianne's strength is not being a politician. Right? Marianne's strength is being a healer. That's what she's been doing for 40 years.
I'm South African. Nelson Mandela wasn't a politician. Gandhi wasn't a politician. They all were spiritual. Martin Luther King was an evangelistic person that stood for something. All these people throughout revolutions stood for something spiritual, politicized love.
There have been leaders like that throughout the world. It's just that we are caught up right now in a total insane political environment globally.
She's talking to my heart. She's talking to my deepest longings of what I want to see the world have. And it starts with this nation.
I brought my kids with me because it's part of the family process, and it's an important thing to make as part of an American citizen, to participate. And I think it's vital for us to be a part of this process. Any little bit that we play gives us a chance to know the candidate at a deeper level, and we get a chance to understand what we're really voting for. And that's the key to the democracy.
The problem is not the people. The problem is this behemoth of soulless corporate power married to governmental authority in a way that is an oppressive and suppressive element. Young people are looking at what young people in other advanced democracies having and asking, well, why don't we? When I was growing up, in the 1970s, the average American worker could afford a house and could afford a car and could afford a yearly vacation and could afford for one parent to stay home if they wanted to help raise the kids and could afford to send their kids to college. That was in the 1970s. Thomas Jefferson said the only safe repository for power is the hands of the people, and we have allowed ourselves to give it up. Young people in America have no memory of such a time. And I realized that this is not an accident that this happened. This was strategized. This has to do with a $50 trillion massive transfer of wealth into the hands of 1% of our people.
We're used to the talking heads to tell us we're gonna lower your taxes and we're gonna put a chicken in every pot. And Marianne Williamson really opens up that conversation a lot broader and asks us to ask ourselves who we are as Americans and what do we believe in and how do we show that and demonstrate that in meaningful ways that are sustainable.
Say it's to the corporate and the wealthy. How do I guarantee that, and how do you explain that to me?
I can't guarantee you need enough people who will elect not only me, but also elect, you have to work on your primary levels as well. You need to elect the senators and the Congress people. The French say if you don't do politics, politics will do you. And I think a lot of the people who have routinely said, I'm not into politics, are waking up to the fact that, well, politics has done me.
We're still trying to get the industrial polluter to stop polluting in town.
It's political why there's so much PFAS in your water. It's political why there are whole sacrifice zones where people's children are getting horrible respiratory illnesses because of the toxins being spewed into the air. It is political that we're ramping up fossil fuel extraction at the very time when we should be ramping it down. It's political whether or not we go into wars like Iraq. It's political whether or not we have universal health care. So I think a lot of people are beginning to awaken. And what they really mean by I'm not political is I'm not part of that vicious, corrupt, toxic system. We have to wake each other up right now, because the only thing that will change that system is the arousal of enough people that we override those forces.
Marianne always talks about John Adams, our second president, who talks about restoring first principles. That's what we're doing on this Independence Day.
It's a very holistic platform. Universal health care, the Department of Peace, really wanting to get chemicals out of the food system.
She hit on all the progressive values that young people here in New Hampshire stand for. She hit on all my own values, which is affordable housing and reducing debt for young people, affordable college, all the important things that we need here in the United States and here in New Hampshire.
The masters of the old are trying to keep the lid on the impulse of new beginnings because they find that threatening, because it is threatening the old order. But that old order is passing away. It will either pass away through wisdom or it will pass away through chaos.
It's wonderful to spend this day with you. It's wonderful that we have one day of the year when we can all remember what we have to celebrate together.
We have to move beyond the opposition. We don't all agree. In a free society, you don't all agree. We're not a totalitarian society where you're supposed to.
A lot of her messaging transcends political party. It's just common sense. It's just good nature towards humanity. So now the DNC is limiting our choices as a result of it because she doesn't fit the mold.
People have taken the idea that only who you think is going to win should you vote for. And then one step removed from that, have the media tell you who's going to win before you even have the debates. And then even cancel the debates because we've already agreed on who's going to win.
For those of us who want to see the Democrats win in 2024, I do not believe that a message that things are going pretty well.
I've never been more optimistic about America's future.
Let us in there again in order to finish the job.
Let's finish the job.
I'm sorry, but the message that the economy is doing pretty well.
Biden economic plan is working.
Is directly contrary. It is contradictory to the visceral experience of millions and millions of Americans. I'd like to talk about 3 particular points in history that have to do with both the birth of this country and what can be, if we so choose, the rebirth of this country. 1773 was the Boston Tea Party, and that was the event that is said to have started the entire revolutionary fervor. It began the trajectory that led to the founding of this country. In 1776, of course, our founders signed the Declaration of Independence. Now, the principles in the Declaration of Independence need to be inscribed not just on parchment, they need to be etched on our hearts. And when too many generations go by where they're not etched on our hearts, we become people who quite simply are easy to play. If children, for instance, are not taught the importance and the meaning of the Bill of Rights when they're children, how are they supposed to know to be appalled when it's under attack when they're adults?
She is there to giving a voice to the children, and that they should have the right to be educated, to be healthy, to be fed, to be loved, to be nurtured, to be exposed to the arts, to have culture. She is giving us hope, and with hope, we become productive as individuals and as a nation.
That's what the abolitionists did. They said, we will end one phase and begin another. That is what the women suffragists did. They said, we are now going to end one phase and begin another. That's what the establishment of organized labor did. We are going to end one phase and begin another. That's what the civil rights movement did. They said, we're going to end one phase and begin another. And that's what you and I can do.
What we need is a leader who can call us all forth, because we can't sit back for the kind of change that's needed now.
Many of us are being called to meet this dynamic opportunity. The presence and the power that lies within us haven't even been tapped. And we have to begin to tap that power, that energy right now.
The people of the United States are demanding economic justice, and the Democratic Party should be listening to those demands, responding to those demands, and turning them into political power.
I think about what Marianne says about the suffragettes, and like if they were like, I'm sorry, I'm just like really busy right now, like we wouldn't have a right to vote.
The zeitgeist of this moment is not about one person or even 100 people. It is about all of us. It is about all of us remembering that this country is supposed to belong to us.
To be bold and brave, you need to discover yourself. You need to find your voice, you need to show up where it's needed, and you need to support people that are willing to support your heart.
The people with the solutions don't have the power. And the people with the power don't care about the solutions if they in fact challenge their corporate sponsors.
Yeah, we do great things, but man, can we be so much better?
I believe that love has a place in politics. Just as Martin Luther King said, it's time to ingest a new dimension of love into the veins of human civilization.
We have to do it. But you finally have somebody who's going to stand in the gap, get in there, open the door and say, come on, guys, come on, guys, come on, guys, I got it open for you.
Her love of people and love of humankind is what really drives her inspiration and her inner motivation to correct wrongs, to inspire people to better behaviors, to inspire society to see a better vision of itself, and to have the compassion necessary to essentially create a new style of leadership.
It's making everybody wanting to contribute to the civics and be involved in the dialogue of civics in America.
We need a significant change, and it really boils down to a spiritual awakening in this country.
You might not know tonight. I know for sure I would vote for her. Yeah, you can listen to different candidates, which you should. I mean, that's part of your civic responsibility. But if you feel this campaign should exist, if you feel this message should be out there, because it is the only progressive message in the Democratic candidacies, then I do ask your help. I hope you will go to Marianne2024.com. I hope you will volunteer. I hope you will spread the word. I hope you will talk to 10 people, and I hope that you will give financially, whatever is comfortable for you. But an organization like this, we're not getting corporate donations. We don't have big PACs and super PACs. We don't have any of that. So if you wanted to continue, even $5 a month. So I'm just asking you, please, to consider really investing in this campaign if you feel that it should exist. Thank you. Thank you.